You're dismissed as a wife now, so get a divorce. Oh, and it's obvious that my retirement savings will only belong to me. All right?
Just when I was wondering what my husband Max was going to say, he'd say some outrageous things like this.
It's all your fault. You're the one who was slacking off. You're the wife and skipping chores, not listening and obeying me.
Yes, you're right. So then let's get the divorce papers and get divorced.
What?
My name is Charlotte, and I am a 68 housewife. I have been together with my husband, who is 3 years younger than me and been married for 45 years now. But here we are on the verge of well, I don't think either of us consider it as a crisis, and perhaps we both thought it was coming. My husband and I met at work. My husband had just graduated from school when he joined the company where he worked. I had already worked there for 3 years. Max began working at the company assigned to mentor him as a trainer. My husband was very handsome, and which I had preferred in men. He was younger than me and had a cute side to him that stimulated my maternal instincts. So then, as I began training him, 6 naturally began going out, and after years, we found out that I was pregnant, and that led to us getting married. Then our first daughter, Jane, we became parents. We were quite young as parents, just 20 years old, but I became a stay-at-home mom and mainly focused on raising our daughter while Max worked. My husband loved Jane and also took her, saying, "For her, I will do my work." Looking back, those were probably the happiest times for me. My eldest daughter grew up quickly. She was 4 years old when my son Patrick was born. I was able to have a girl and a boy kid, so as a family, we had a lot. My daughter was into drawing and reading books, and my son was into baseball sports. We couldn't afford their expensive piano, but I did buy Jane a new guitar, and Patrick got into the local youth team. I was so busy with the kids' events that it didn't take long for me to become an adult. As a housewife, I think that I did job that I even would like to pat my the back for. I did all the housework, packed up the kids and Max, and prepared dinner for them. My daughter and son were both involved in after-school extracurricular activities, so I often had to drive them when they needed a ride. Unlike me, my husband didn't really know anything about fixing things around the house, but he earned enough to provide for us. I don't think he even took out the once. I am sure he wouldn't know how to do it if suddenly asked or told to gather the garbage or something like that. But at least he wasn't arrogant about doing any house chores. So I think another reason why we didn't bite him not doing anything around the house was because he was so good at everything else. 22 years of marriage, then finally graduating from college. I felt quite a sense of accomplishment, being able to send my 2 kids out into society. And by then, I was still 49 years old. My husband was 46 years old, and he worked hard. With a sense of enjoyment in life, I started focusing on my hobbies, took trips, and did many other things. Max and I started spending more time together as a couple for the first time in years, and I felt like our relationship was really starting to blossom. I think we both enjoyed our time together as a couple, and we were really happy. But that all changed when we both passed the age of 60. I think it all started with a very thing.
You're not a good cook, are you?
What did you say, honey?
Because, you always cook dishes and there's never much variety in your meals.
And you're telling me that now? You've been eating whatever I cook for a long time now without complaining. And I've been trying to make it different from your favorite dish that you like.
But still, why don't you have any one different recipes? How long have you been a housewife anyway?
Then let me say this. Have you ever cooked once in your life? I cooked every day while taking care of kids. You could at least thank me for that if you're going to complain now.
What the hell? Don't get mad at me. I was only just saying that it's okay to have a normal conversation with you.
Well, I'm not mad, you know. There was something that bothered me, so I just only said that.
Well, practically, you are angry at you have that certain tone. Well, that's enough. Let's not talk this anymore.
You were the one who brought this on yourself. And since then, my husband began to about how I did the house chores as
I feel like you didn't wipe enough. The floors are not shiny.
Well, we've lived here for decades. Guess it's no wonder that it's not enough.
You shouldn't be so negative about like that. That's how you lose flexibility too when you age.
what on earth is he saying? Like this, my husband has been blowing me a lot lately. Why is he suddenly taking out his anger on house chores that he never cared about all these years and never bothered to do around the house? And if it bothers Max so much, then just do it yourself. But it seems like he doesn't want to do it at all. I felt like a fool for taking the housework so seriously. So I decided to do cooking and other chores in a more relaxed way. My husband is about to retire and will be at home for a long time. After that, he thought it would be better for him not to take it too seriously. But this seemed to irritate my husband even more.
Hey, isn't the dinner tonight too...
You think so? But thinking about our age, I think we've gotten used to this kind of simple disrespect.
What? You've got to be kidding me. Are you going to make me eat this kind of food all the time when I retire soon?
I realized that I always cooked fancy and complicated meals for you. I thought I'd cut down on some ingredients where I could.
No, you better not do that. You just want to slack off, don't...
Oh, why was Max always so sensitive about changes and details? This was just a small thing.
If you keep on like this, then you qualified as a wife. You better remake the dinner.
Well, that's not possible. It's not like I bought a lot of expensive stuff for tonight either.
Then just go buy more ingredients at now.
Hey, wait a minute now. What is going you recently? Why have you been complaining so much about work lately?
Well, I think that I've been too easy this whole time. So I'm trying to be strict to you.
Excuse me? You don't make any sense at all.
I really had a hard time understand what's going on here. No way is Max having menopause. It's true that he became more angry and moody as he turned 60. So I talked to Jane and Patrick about it, who I haven't seen them for a while. My daughter is already 44, and my son, and they are both married with kids. Both of them are married to their Ps, whose parents are much older than they, who were in their 70s.
My father-in-law is 68, but it seems like he's going through anything that Dad is. But, well, people show different types of symptoms at different ages, so I can't assume anything.
But even if Dad didn't do much house, it's not like he wasn't a bad meat. I still remember him playing catch. And, yeah, that's about it.
You don't remember much about all when you were still little. Mom did all the house chores and mainly raised us after all.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I have OWN, I've realized how much I miss my mom again.
Oh, thank you both.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about the topic of the day. Maybe he's having an affair or some... I'm not really sure, but...
Excuse me?
Hey, don't say anything random like you don't even have proof. Dad is 64 years old, you know? There's no way he's having an affair.
Well, yeah, but there could be a possibility.
Don't make Mom anxious like that.
I'm sorry. Well, it's just my personal random, so don't worry about it, okay, Mom? Come visit me and my family anytime you want to get your mind off of things. I'm sure my son will be happy to see his grandma.
Oh, come visit us too. The kids will love it.
Thanks, you two.
I was happy to see my children grow strong. I was also deeply moved by the fact our becoming parents, and I was also a little concerned that my son had said to me. To think about it, even though Max was retiring soon, he does come home late frequently nowadays. Could it be? Just to be sure, I requested the investigation agency to investigate about Max, and the results shocked me so much. Max was having an affair with a 50 woman. I trusted Max not to have an affair again, but in the end, he did. I was too stunned and couldn't say. And once I thought about Max cheating on me with another woman. I was so disgusted by Max all of a sudden. How could he do this to me? When I reported what I had found out to Y and Patrick, they were both immensely grateful. After a while, Patrick said, even though I said it, I wasn't really thinking about doing it, actually. At that point, I had already made up to get a divorce. So I decided to L place to live for the time being. Even if I confronted Max with the D papers right now, I wouldn't have a place to live. And as one would expect at my age, room was quite difficult. Many real estate agencies are reluctant to rent rooms to elderly people, which is why it took me a long time room. But finally, I managed to secure a new place to live on my own. And it was right around the time my dad was about to retire from the company. But the day after Max retired, I was into the living room by him.
It seems like you came home pretty yesterday.
Well, of course, I was having a drink to celebrate my retirement.
Oh, with whom?
The colleagues from the company,
No, it was probably my mistake.
What did you want to talk to me about anyway?
well, sit down.
Just when I was wondering what my husband Max was going to say, he'd say some outrageous things like this.
You're the one who was slacking off. You're the wife and skipping chores, not listening and obeying me.
So then let's get the divorce papers and get divorced. We're getting a divorce, right?
Well, yes, but I mean, you're not just a regular person. It's divorce, you know.
Well, do you want a divorce? Which is it?
I mean, I do want a divorce, but my retirement money is all mine, you know that, right?
So you mean there will be no property division, right? That's fine with me.
My husband looked so confused, as he didn't expect me to accept his suggestion easily.
Well, then here, the divorce papers.
I took the divorce papers from my husband, filled out my portion,
Okay, well, I'll submit this then.
and saying that, I started to pack stuff.
What? Are you going to leave today? Do you even have any place to stay?
We're getting a divorce, and yet you're already worried about that?
No, it's not that I'm worried. I thought everything was going to.
I ignored what my husband has said and concentrated on packing my bags. I finished packing, so I took my suitcase to the living room where my husband was sitting looking really nervous.
Okay, well, I'm going. Oh, yes, by the way, these are the photos that pro you're having an affair. So, should I file a claim for alimony with a lawyer later on, okay?
What?
When I put the photos on the table, that my husband's face turned comp pale.
Well, then, goodbye.
My husband froze on the spot, as if a loss for words, and I just ignored him and left them. Then I moved into the new place. I kept on receiving several incoming calls from my husband, but I ignored all of them. Through my lawyer, I filed a claim for alimony against my husband and his company. My husband probably planned to leave moment he retired the company and remistress. Which is probably why he had been complaining to me little by little for several years, so that I would gradually think that I needed to divorce him. I guess he really had no idea that had been exposed. According to my lawyer, Max was very upset that he was being charged alimony. And the reason why I decided not to share property with my husband is because I am also earning some money. In fact, my parents were florists and ran a class about flower arrangement. I was also taught about flowers and flower arrangements by my mother, Sura Child, and that's why I taught my parents' class after I became a house. Max probably only thought that I was helping out around my parents' house in addition to my work as an instructor. Occasionally, he would ask me to do other jobs. So I was earning pretty well. While I was raising the kids, I used money to pay for their school fees. After I finished raising the kids, I used money to fund my retirement. So I had a considerable amount of S. On the contrary, my ex-husband didn't get promoted at all. So his retirement benefit wasn't that much compared to mine. If it was just my husband, he might be able to live in retirement on his pension alone. But if he remarried, then he and his new wife would have to cut their living expenses significantly. Plus, Max would have to pay alimony his own money, which would make his more difficult. Later on, I found out from my son that his mistress had said, "That's not what you told me. You said I wouldn't have to pay alimony and could live off your retirement money." So my ex-husband became single and asked Patrick and Jane to move in with him. But they both said, "Don't you dare ask us. You were the one who betrayed us." So now, like that, my ex-husband was completely alone. Well, Max got what he deserves. Meanwhile, I'm living in my new place, enjoying the flourishing of my hobbies. I live close to Jane's house, so I often go to lunch with her and see my grandchildren. Patrick would also bring his kids to work on his days off, so I was able to live life to the fullest without feeling alone. I don't know how many more years I have left, but I will make the most of each day.
What kind of nerve does a 65-year-old man even have to have an affair and cheat on his own wife who was with him for over 40 years? I would hear things like a very rich man with a lot of money would have an affair with a young woman. I just can't believe that Max would someone who has been with him for 45. But in the end, the kids and his ex-wife left him, so I'm glad it all turned out well for Charlotte.
Charlotte was indeed right to leave man like Max.
I hope Charlotte and her kids continue to get along well together and live happily ever after.
Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.